Culture Pavilion in Davos. Very pleased to be joined by Carlo Ratti, professor at MIT. Thanks very much for coming along.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Tell me, what have you been talking about here in Davos?
Well, this year Davos is really about the fourth industrial revolution. It's about how technology is really transforming the way we produce and also the way we live in cities. Some people call it also smart cities. And so we've been exploring that from different points of view.
Tell me about some of the work that you are doing in this area.
Well, I'll tell you just a couple of things. The first one is about how this can really radically change the way we move in cities. Thanks to self-driving, thanks to digital platform, today we can share mobility in a much more effective way. We did some work in New York City. We looked at like 40% of trips could be shared without introducing delays for people to reach their destination. When you look at that, that means potentially a city where we could run, say, New York or Singapore, any big city or small city, potentially in the future with 20% of the cars we have today. That's just a lower bound, but just to tell you about the incredible transformation that could happen thanks to self-driving and a digital platform.
So tell me how that would work. I'm waking up at the beginning of the day, in the beginning of the morning, I think, oh no, I'm late. What do I do?
Well, let me tell you, if you're late, that's a different problem, but let's solve that later.
Okay.
But let me say, today, what happens today? You take your car, you drive a little bit, and then you go somewhere else and you leave it parked for most of the time. Mm-hmm. Actually, in the United States, cars are parked 95% of the time. You use them only 5% of the time. And when they're parked, they use valuable space in the city. Now, if you got a self-driving car, that car can give you a lift to the office, but then can give a lift to somebody else in your family or anybody else in your city. So use the infrastructure in a better way. Instead of using 5%, you can use it much more effectively. And that means that you can reduce the number of cars in the city.
How soon do you think we'll start to see these changes that you're describing?
Well, I think we are starting to see some of that already today because of digital platform. Think about how much sharing mobility is already happening a lot with many digital platforms. And self-driving is really ripe. The technology, I would say, is 95% there. So we are starting to see that as we speak.
What kind of work are you doing here in Davos?
We're also doing a lot of work with the World Economic Forum. I'm chairing the Global Agenda Council on Future Cities. And that's really looking at, again, some of those transformations. Traffic is just one of them. But it's really about energy, about waste, about water, about citizen participation that can radically change because of new ways for citizens to get together online. And if you look at that, really this kind of smart city transformation, what we're doing with the forum is have a discussion with many stakeholders, with the private sector, having really a very exciting team as part of the Global Agenda Council that explores urban innovation. So one of the things we've just presented now at the forum is this kind of top 10 urban innovations that can be the kind of the focus for what we do over the next year.
Carlo, thank you very much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Edie Lush.